I love it. Okay. I want to do something and see if this turns into content for the episode. Maybe, maybe not. But let's talk about e-commerce and how e-commerce brands, and you may not have much experience. I don't either, but I just know from working with some of the agencies on go-to-market, how a typical product, an actual product, physical product goes to market in the e-commerce space these days. So think of
Yeah.
a typical TikTok influencer campaign. So, right,
Yep.
you've got, I just purchased a product off TikTok the other day, athletic greens, right? And I was like, everyone's talking about this, whatever, I'll try it out, right? So the way I found it is through an ad,
Yep.
and the actual creator of the ad happened to be on our TikTok Partner Tracks event yesterday. We had this big training, and she ends up telling me like how they did it and what they were doing, and it correlates with many e-commerce product go-to-markets. But I want to see if this fits into SaaS and get your opinions on it. Hypothetically, I'm a founder. I'm a founder, but hypothetically, you listening are founders, and you are in the early stages of product development. Maybe you have some beta users, and you're putting together your go-to-market. And we want to come to Sean. Sean's maybe entering your DMs or you're entering his, and you're like, we're looking for funding, and this is where we're at. And maybe we're pre-revenue, which probably maybe disqualifies, but let's say we're still qualified. And we have sort of an e-commerce product launch go-to-market strategy. And the e-commerce side is typically find influencers, pay them to post about your product, right? Get a handful, however many you can afford. Then bring in thought leaders, influencers into content, into actual templates or product branding. So you can have Kim Kardashian's version of your product on launch, and you're paying Kim for it, or maybe Kim's doing it for free because it's good for her brand. And then you're matching new customers with consultants. So if it's a athletic greens type product, maybe you're matching them with a gym coach, and you put them into contact over email, and they have one free session on, diet and exercise, right? Put that into the SaaS world. I'm going to create a go-to-market that's going to pay partnership leaders for, and this is my product's a partner product. So put this into context of whatever industry you're in. But I'm going to pay thought leaders for blank number of posts on social for the launch. So I'm going to give them content. I'm going to put branded assets together. They're guaranteeing me blank number of posts. I'm going to pre-write content and schedule webinars with those same thought leaders in my space. I'm going to get with the product team and say, hey, we've got use cases of our product. We know what they are. Why don't we brand those according to the same names as the thought leaders and say, this is how this person, Sean Kester, does partnerships go to market. And these are the 10 steps. And here are the automations. And all you have to do is click on that template. And now your account is set up to launch with Sean Kester's go-to-market 10-step routine. Then we're going to match new users with thought leaders and experts. And the arrangement there is non-compensatory. We're going to match you. It's up to you to have one exploratory call. You're not going to charge them for that. If they end up buying your services, great. It's good for everybody. If not, you're not going to push them into a sales conversation. So you have that sort of loose agreement. That type of a go-to-market pre-revenue, what would you say about that? How would you poke holes in that? What would you tell that founder?
I think that's a great idea. I mean, so the difficulty in it is that you've got no clout to get in with those influencers at that time, right? Like they're just gonna be like, who are you? And you're like, hey, we want all these playbooks from you. And they're like, you're not even, because most of the time when that happens, you've got enough of a community and following to help them with their brand, and they help you with your brand. And it's mutually beneficial. And so you're like, hey, so and so, sales leader or partnership leader, we want to play. Like, you're great at doing this. Would you write a play that we could then give to our users, right? If you're good and you've got connections there in that place, then great. I think that would be a great idea. I've done some things like that in the past, and what we really had to do is start like reposting their content early on, credit relationships, like letting them do guest blogs, or putting them on podcasts or whatever it may be, right? Like basically trying to put them on a pedestal as much as possible, so that when you ask for a favor later on, they would do it. You can pay for it. I don't know if that would necessarily have the best ROI on it, and I wouldn't even know how to price it. But I don't see that as a bad idea, because going back to your community, you can build a community of people that are really great around what the product, the problem that you solve. Maybe they don't necessarily use your product, or maybe you're got a different angle on it. But if you get them to talk about you, that's always going to be great, right? They've got a community where they've got people that are following them and looking at them for advice and resources. So why not? So I think all in all, there's a lot of things you could probably take away from the consumer go to market. But I would make sure your product's still delivering value, right? Like you want to have it balanced in between solving a problem and then also talking about it. There's two types of organizations that I'll see. One is the ones that had a better marketing, better sales, product was a little bit lacking, but they might have been first to market, or they might have been loudest to market, right? And they're really good at selling. They grow their revenues. And then there's another organization that's kind of been number 2 or number 3 for a while that may have spent more time on product. They have a better product, but they've had no sale, like no marketing whatsoever, right? I like to find the ones that are the no marketing, because what they'll end up happening is once you put the gas on from either a partnership perspective or from a direct sales perspective and from a marketing perspective, they will outsell the others because they do have a better product genuinely. And so the other ones, company A will create the space, create the market, and then company B comes in at the end and they're, the second. They may have been first to market, they just weren't very good at market. But again, I like to find it where you can pour gas on the go to market, but the product's really there.